Good evening, professionals. In our domestic corporate law webinar series, we are in our ninth series discussing about labor code. We have completed two codes, IRC Industrial Relations Code, and then we also moved on Code on Social Security and just completed last week. And we are moving on with the third part being the most important one in the labor code, which is to take care and protect the safety, health, and working condition of the employees. So we're going to deal with occupational safety, health, and working condition. The preamble of this code also relates to the topic and well synchronizes with the objective of protecting the safety, health, and working condition of the employees. And in part one of this third labor code, we are going to discuss first about the structure of this code and then the framework to understand that 13 erstwhile provisions of labor legislations are repealed and now we have it in one consolidated code. The history as to how this particular code is passed and approved and thus notified, and we will have the chapter 2 to discuss about the registration and cancellation of registration, the duties of employer employee, and few general definitions in line with the specific provisions which we are going to discuss, and the reporting requirement to various authorities when it comes to accidents or any other health hazard which happens in an establishment, to the appropriate authorities how the notification shall happen. Thanks Aishwarya for this presentation. Some of the legends in today's presentation, the agenda which we just discussed. We have the framework. Lok Sabha passed this bill on 22nd September. Rajya Sabha passed it on 23rd and it thus received President's assent on 28th September. The preamble of this particular code is to protect the safety, health and working condition of the people who are employed in an establishment. When you read chapter 2 relating to registration, it says that this particular code registration is applicable to all establishments effective commencement of this code or to any other establishment to which this particular safety, health and working condition are already applicable. And thus it is imperative for us to understand the authorities to whom this particular code is not applicable. Thus the officers of central government, state government and any ship of war of any nationality, to these three segments this is not applicable. However, the proviso clause in your chapter 1 clearly spells out that if the contract labor are employed through some contract in such offices, that is your central government, state government, where the principal employer, central government or state government is the principal employer, then the code shall apply that too. These are the 13 statutes which are repealed and thus we have this one consolidated code. Factories Act, Plantation Labor Act, Mines Act, Working Journalists Act, Motor Transport Workers Act, BD Cigar Workers Act, CLRA, Sales Promotion Employees Act, Cine Workers Act, Dock Workers, Building Construction Workers Regulation Act. So all these are thus repealed. The chapters which we are going to see in part 3, that is your occupational health safety, will be first we will deal with some of the specific definitions, and chapter 2 dealing with registration, cancellation of registration before the registering authorities, and what are the duties of employee and employer. We will thus see the duties of employer becoming the rights of employee there, occupational safety and health, health, safety and working conditions, welfare provision, hours of work, annual leave, and it will continue with few other chapters in this particular code. Some of the specific definitions. Agent, as the name goes, he is the person who is acting on behalf of the owner and who is taking care of the management, control, supervision or direction of this particular mine or a part thereof. A contract labor is a person who is deemed to be employed in connection with any work For example, the principal employer is Google, and this particular employer is hiring a contractor, say a tech company, and this particular tech company is engaged for completing a project. And in this case, this tech company will outsource this particular activity to some contract labor given the time constraint, and also specific to this particular project there could be certain tech resources who will be experts on the subject, in which case these outsourced employees will be considered as contract labor, and these contract labor will thus report only to this tech company in India, and Google will be the principal employer, and there may not be any link between these tech resources or experts and Google. However, they are engaged as a contract or an arrangement between the tech company and these resources, the tech experts. Thus, it is with or without the knowledge of principal employer. It could be known to Google, but not necessarily. But does not include a worker who is regularly employed by the contractor. So, if this particular tech employee is on the roles of the contractor, then this particular person is not considered to be a contractor. He is an outsourced resource. It could also include an interstate migrant worker. We are going to see in the next slides as to who is an interstate migrant worker, and we have discussed enough about the interstate migrant worker during these COVID times. Contractor is the person who is engaging these outsourced employees, so who undertakes to produce a given result given this particular time schedule by the Google. When the contractor undertakes to carry out this particular project within the time schedule as provided or offered by this particular principal employer, he undertakes to provide the given result. It could also include a subcontractor. In our given example, if Google identifies one tech company here, and that tech company is going to engage a subcontractor, say XYZ Private Limited here in Chennai, then that subcontractor could also be included for the purpose of this definition as a contractor. Dock work means any work within the vicinity of any port in connection with loading, unloading, movement or storage of cargoes into a ship or from the ship or any other vessel, port, dock as the case may be. And it is in connection with a work which is related to this particular ship or a vessel, or connected with the maintenance activities relating to the loading, unloading, storage, maintenance of the ship or a vessel, or cleaning or painting of any tank or structure or any other storage area on board the ship. Hazardous means any dangerous or potentially dangerous activity in an establishment. Interstate migrant worker means a person who is employed in an establishment and he is recruited directly by the employer or indirectly through a contractor. So he could be directly employed in our given illustration by this tech company or through a contractor, being your XYZ Private Limited in Chennai. And this particular person, say this employee, tech employee is actually residing in Bihar, but for the purpose of project assignment, he is coming to Chennai. Then he is an interstate migrant worker, or has come on his own from one state and obtained employment in establishment of another state. In the given illustration, from Bihar to Chennai, or this establishment is situated in another state. Instead of that person is from Chennai, but for the purpose of official or project specific activity, he is being assigned an activity in Uttarakhand, then that could also lead to interstate migrant worker definition, or has subsequently changed the establishment within the establishment of in the same state. Not necessarily to be in the illustration XYZ, but if he is going to be provided a project transfer or assignment to some other company in Chennai, but since his residing place originally hails from Bihar, it still attributes to interstate migrant worker, provided He draws wages not exceeding 18,000 per month or such other higher sum as may be notified by central government. An owner with regard to a mine means any person who is the immediate proprietor or lessee or occupier of the mine or any part thereof. And in case of a mine, the business is being carried, if it is going to be a company which is on voluntary winding up or compulsory winding up, and the official management, direction and supervision is assigned to a liquidator or receiver, in which case the owner, the position is assigned to this liquidator or official receiver. However, a person who receives the money only as a royalty fee or he is acting in the capacity of a lessee will not be considered as an owner. That for the purpose of this particular interpretation it also includes a sublessee. But any contractor or sublessee for the working of a mine or part thereof shall be considered as owner for the purpose of this particular code only, but not so as to exempt the farmer from any liability. So that does not exclude the owner from any liability. He has to certainly own for all the liabilities under this particular code. These are some of the specific definitions, important few definitions only we have discussed. As and when we move on, we will see those general terms as applicable to the respective chapters. In registration, the principal section clearly says that an application has to be made to RO, registering officer, in such form and in such manner and within such time as may be specified by appropriate government. And application has to be made along with information relating to employment of interstate migrant workers, and registering officer, upon receipt of this particular document in such form and manner, shall register the establishment and issue a certificate of registration electronically. Here it is interesting to note that the section clearly says that within such time and in such manner and in such form as may be prescribed by central government, this particular RO shall register. What if he fails to do so? Then the section vehemently says that if this particular registration is not happening within the time prescribed by CG, then it shall be considered as an auto-generated certificate, and it shall, upon the expiry of this particular date, say for example within 30 days is the number which is prescribed by central government, on the expiry of the 30th day, automatically then an auto-generated certificate will reach the establishment. Any change reporting from the date of the event shall happen within 30 days, and the RO shall make necessary amendment to the COR, Certificate of Registration, with regard to any change in control or management that happens in any establishment. Like how from the date of commencement of this code, any establishment shall make a reporting for seeking registration. For closure of establishment also within 30 days, they shall inform the RO and shall also give an affirmative statement that any dues to the employees are promptly paid by the establishment. On receiving this information, upon receipt of satisfactory confirmation that the dues are well settled by the employer to the employee, the cancellation certificate of registration will be deemed to be cancelled by RO. If an employer has obtained the COR merely by of representation or suppression of a material fact, or if it leads to a fraudulent way in which he has obtained this particular registration, which thereby leads it to be ineffective or useless to run the establishment, then after giving an opportunity of being heard, the registrar, the registering officer may revoke the registration order. Or if it is going to be by way of misrepresentation or suppression of facts, then it will lead to contravention of this particular code and thereby leading to punishment as set out in section 94 of this code. And no employer shall employ any person unless and until he is registered under this code. Thus, the principal section assumes significance. And what if he is refused registration? Then he is having the prerogative right to make an appeal. And existing establishments shall be deemed to be registered under this code on providing necessary details relating to their registration within the prescribed time frame. So this is the grandfathering provision you have between the erstwhile provisions of the Act and this particular code. If a person is agreed by the order of RO, he could make an appeal to AO, appellate officer, notified by appropriate government. On receipt of the same, appellant officer shall dispose of the appeal after giving an opportunity of being heard to the appellant. And employer of an establishment being a factory, mine, or relating to contract labor or other construction work shall not use establishment to commence the operation of any industry, trade, business, or calling without sending notice of such purpose, and shall also, like how while doing a commencement of any industry or trade or business, he notifies the authority. Likewise, when there is a closure of this particular business or manufacturing or occupation or any other activity which he is performing, similar notification shall be placed before the authority. And in the new code, it is clarified clearly that all these submissions or certificates are construed to be valid if it is in electronic form, not necessary to be a hard copy. We move on to chapter 3, the duties of employer and employee. Some of the general duties of employer are, he shall certainly well protect the safety of all the employees, and hence hazardous and toxic waste shall be kept outside the workplace. And he shall certainly comply with the occupational safety and health hazards as specified in the code. And free annual health examination is mandatory. And he shall always take care of safe working environment, issue a letter of appointment to the employee on appointment, and if immediately on appointment this particular appointment letter is not issued, at least within 3 months from the date of appointment, he shall certainly cause the notice to be issued to the employee. And he shall be responsible, of course, for the safety and protecting the health of the employees. And in the case of factory, mine, dock, building, construction work, or plantation, the maintenance of plant, system, and use with regard to the storage, transport of articles shall certainly be well taken care by the establishment and without causing any health hazard. And there shall be necessary provision provided to the employees to take care of the safety and health. And all places of work in the establishment shall certainly comply with the safety and health standards. Provision and maintenance of working environment in the workplace is important. Proper and well maintenance of the working condition is mandatory requirement. And with regard to owner, agent, and manager of a mine, the owner and agent shall be jointly and severally liable, which means the agent cannot point fingers only on the owner. Both are responsible for making adequate financial and other provisions and such other steps as are provided in the code. In case of any contravention, the officials, manager, owner, agent who are held responsible for carrying out the welfare activities shall certainly be guilty of this contravention. And any appointment made as per the provision of the code shall not be a defense in any proceeding brought against the owner or agent, the manager, just because the appointment of this particular manager or agent was in due compliance with the provisions of the code, that cannot be taken as a necessary defense to escape from the liability if there is going to be any contravention with regard to the occupational health, safety, and working condition, which has to be well protected by each such authority who is certainly made responsible with regard to these provisions in the code. And with regard to designers, manufacturers, importers, and suppliers, they shall ensure that the article which is designed is safe and without causing any health hazard to the workers when it is used. And they shall certainly carry out necessary examination and tests in the establishment for the purpose of adequate safety in compliance with this particular clause. And If they have already carried out a test, then they shall not repeat the same if that particular result is relied upon while taking care of the health and safety. And they shall also take necessary steps that adequate information is provided in the necessary documents or in the necessary boxes which they are going to provide in the articles which they are manufacturing or designing, to provide adequate precautionary measures on the use and standards as are set with regard to these articles. And an article or substance is regarded as not properly used if they are used without regard to any information or advice relating to their use or standard, and which has been made available to the person who is designed, manufactured, imported and supplied the articles and the substance. So if they are not attributing to the necessary information with regard to the use and standard, then it will be regarded as not properly used only. And for the purpose of this particular provision, articles includes plant and machinery, and substance includes natural and artificial substance, be it a solid or liquid form or a gaseous form. Substance for use in any factory means any substance whether or not intended for use by persons working in the factory. So not necessarily that it should be only to those members who are working in a factory. Even otherwise, it shall certainly take care of the necessary usage and standard measures. And for architects, project engineers and designers, they shall be responsible for any building or construction work or the design of any project, and they shall ensure at the planning stage itself for the safety and health aspects of the building workers and the construction workers who are designated for this particular project. And this does not include anything in the design which would involve the use of dangerous structures or such materials which would cause hazard to the health or safety of these building workers or employees, and they shall take into consideration the necessary safety aspects with regard to the maintenance and upkeep of these structures and buildings, and necessary measures as may be notified by the government. And the necessary duties of these employers will be the rights of the employees, and they shall take reasonable care and safety, no doubt, for them as well as for others, and they shall comply with safety and health requirements. Employees' duty shall be to cooperate with the employer in meeting the statutory obligation. So if there is going to be standard measures which are placed or which are posted in a prominent location in the factory or in the premises of an establishment, they shall certainly adhere to the standards. Otherwise, they cannot make the employer responsible for their negligence and report to the employer with regard to any unsafe situation, and not willfully interfere or misuse any appliance or article which is for their particular convenience or other thing which is provided at the workplace, and not willfully do without reasonable clause anything which is likely to endanger themselves or other peers or employees, and they shall perform such other duties as may be notified by appropriate government. And then these are the duties to be adhered by the employees. Some of the rights which they can demand from the employer will be to seek necessary information relating to protecting their health, safety and working conditions, and represent inadequate provision. If there is going to be any inadequate working condition or safety or health aspect, then they can certainly make adequate representation. Or if there is going to be anything which is likely to cause serious injury personally or leading to death or imminent danger to the health, then they shall certainly notify the same to the employer. So these are some of the rights to the employees. We will finally conclude this particular part 3 with notice of accidents, dangerous occurrences and diseases. In an establishment where there is an accident which occurs, which leads to death or bodily injury, then a reason by which the person injured is prevented from working for a period of 48 hours or more after this particular accident occurrence, or it is of such a nature which is as enshrined by the appropriate government, then the respective persons shall send the notice of this particular accident occurrence to the authorities. In a mine, it is the duty of the owner, agent or manager. In case of a factory or dock work, it shall be the duty of the employer or manager. And in the case of plantation or building or other construction workers, it is the duty of employer. And immediately on receipt of the notice about the occurrence of this accident, the authority shall make an inquiry about this occurrence within 2 months. And where there is no such authority, the inspector cum facilitator shall cause the inspector to make an inquiry within the specific period. And dangerous occurrences, if there is going to be anything which causes bodily injury or disability, immediately the employer shall notify to the authorities. And with regard to any disease as specified in third schedule of this particular code, there is a list of 29 diseases as specified in the third schedule, which also includes anthrax, occupational cancer. The employer shall send this particular notice to the authorities. So with regard to accidents or any disease which is as specified in the third schedule, or any dangerous occurrences, appropriate notification shall be made by the employer to the authorities. And any medical practitioner who fails to comply with this provision with regard to the diseases as set out in the third schedule, he shall also be punishable with a penalty which may extend to 10,000 rupees. Friends, with this, we are completing the part 1 session till the duties and notification of accidents, diseases as specified in third schedule, and any other dangerous occurrences which happen in an establishment. We continue with occupational health, safety and working condition in our next webinar series as well. Until then, take care, stay safe. Thank you.